Oh, another match point.
Incredible third set here.
They changed their strategy a little bit and they fought their way back in.
There it is. Game, set, and match.
Climo Neuman won the toss.
Hello and welcome to the 2024-2025 APTA Tour. We're live from the Cleveland Racquet Club in Cleveland, Ohio, bringing you the Cleveland Masters with live streaming brought to you by the APTA membership and our tour presenting sponsors, Volley and Corient. Tournament support has been provided by the following local sponsors: Carnegie Investment Council, Compass Group, the Delaney Group, Elk and Elk, Gilmore Security, Trombold Equipment, and Viking. I'm Randy Markey along with Steve Sullivan, bringing you the women's semifinal match between Jillian Climo and Christine Neuman from Chicago and Vanessa Steiner and Mary Wilson from Pittsburgh. Steve, why don't you introduce us to the players?
So good afternoon, Randy. This is looks like a sunny, beautiful day in Cleveland. So on the near court in the deuce side, we have Jillian Climo, her partner in the ad side. Now looking is Christine Neuman. And then on the other side of the court, we have Vanessa Steiner, who I believe is in the deuce court, with Mary Wilson in the ad side right there. Yeah, women's semifinals. Looks like a beautiful day in Cleveland. How's it been going so far today, Randy?
It's been a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day for a spectator. I'm not sure it's a great day for a paddle player. The sun is high in the sky and not a lot of clouds, but it's been a terrific tournament. The trains are running on time. As you know, that's always a challenge at these events. But the staff here and the tournament directors have done a phenomenal job keeping this tournament on time.
So this is the women's semifinal, the bottom half of our draw. Looks like Steiner and Wilson had a tight three-setter to make it into the semifinals. And Climo and Neuman as well, a tight two-setter, but a tiebreaker in the second. So this is their third match of the day. And there's one more to go for one of these teams. So you're right, it's nice to be a spectator. It feels like fall, but balls are probably a little warm in for the paddle players' sun. And hot balls can be tricky for sure.
No question about it. And you're right. These players have all just come off of a busy morning and long matches in their last round. But I think this is going to be a pretty well evenly matched up opportunity for us to enjoy some good paddle here.
So tell me a little bit about Cleveland Racquet Club. I can see one other court, two other courts. What sort of, from a paddle perspective, what sort of facility do we have here?
So the Cleveland Racquet Club has a full complement of racket sports. They've got 4 paddle courts and just outside of a beautiful club with indoor tennis, outdoor tennis, squash, 2 swimming pools. And here we go. We've got Mary Wilson serving to start the match here. I'm going to blame that one on the sun.
Well, it's tricky depending on how the courts are oriented. The afternoon on a traditional north-south court can be really tough on one side.
15 all.
Yeah, that sun is definitely coming out of the forehand side for all of the players who are going to play on the hut side of the court. It's going to make overheads interesting for sure.
So it looks like, as I looked at the draw coming into the semifinals, it looks like we've played 2 seeds. So the top 4 teams made it to the semifinals, which is sort of the goal of the tournament director, to have the best talent that's come up to this tournament and showcase themselves this afternoon. So, yeah, it should be interesting. We have the Climo and Neuman are the 4 seeds, Steiner and Wilson are the 2nd seeds. So it looks like should be as well from a PTI perspective a pretty competitive match.
Looks like some early jitters here.
30,
Mary
40.
Wilson. These are uncharacteristic errors here.
Score is deuce.
So I don't know much about any of the 4 players on the court, but it's going to be interesting to watch and see kind of what kind of game plan Steiner and Wilson have here. Right now, they're kind of feeling each other out, it looks like.
Advantage, Neuman.
So Steiner and Wilson are from Pittsburgh, I believe, and
Correct.
Climo and Neuman. I know Climo I can see is from Naperville, Illinois. Not sure about Christine Neuman, if she's local or also from the Chicago area.
Also from Chicago.
Okay.
Score is deuce. Advantage, Neuman.
Okay, that's a better point. Looks like we have some
Climo,
strong
Neuman.
backhands
They
on the other
lead
side of the
1
court.
game to love, first set.
It's always interesting, these tournaments, as you get into sometimes the second match, but the third and the fourth match of the day, not only does it become a mental exercise, but these days it's a lot of paddle. For the teams that play week in and week out, it can be something they customize to, but it's these tournaments are absolutely an athletic test as much as a paddle test as well, certainly in the second half of the day.
Oh, absolutely.
So this is Jillian Climo now serving in the purple top, or
15, love.
maybe a bit of blue.
It's a nice rip there from Mary Wilson.
15, all.
Not feeling like either team has quite found a rhythm yet.
Thirty, 15.
That's a nice
What
touch.
What a great shot. Really nice shot by Jillian Climo. Love how she let it drop almost, down to the height, certainly a little bit below her shoulder, but that's a really difficult shot. Has a lot of options and really nice soft hands there.
That's beautiful.
Game, Climo, Neuman. They lead 2 games to love, first set.
Neuman hit a beautiful volley there. Nice and soft, low into the side wire.
Yeah, I think Mary Wilson's forehand may be the biggest shot on the court, but they're down 2-0, and Climo and Neuman are just sort of patient. And the other team's missing a little bit early on.
Love.
Feels like both teams are shaking off some nerves here early in the match. It's I watched both of them play earlier round matches and seeing some uncharacteristic errors versus what I saw them hitting earlier.
Well, it's interesting that I think their quarterfinal match may have been around 10:30 this morning, so they may have had sort of the long lunch break. Could be a little stiff, could be, you know, a little bit overthinking a semifinal match. Obviously, these APTA Tour events are a big deal. Getting the finals is a big deal. They've had a couple absolutely fantastic points, but just a few too many errors. So,
Game Steiner Wilson, Climo Neuman lead 2 games to 1.
All right,
First
Steiner
set.
and Wilson are on the board. And those were pretty quick points to your point there. You know, these are good choices that are being made. Just execution is maybe a little rusty from a long break and or a high level of nerves. But
Neuman to serve.
I think as we age on here in the match, we're going to start to see everybody settle in. These are all pretty accomplished players.
all right, Christine Neuman serving here in the gray top. Yeah, they're quick points. There's some really big ground strokes on this
15.
court. That was Vanessa Steiner with a backhand.
Nice big
And
rip.
there's
Yeah.
there's the big forehand by
From Mary.
Mary Wilson.
Love 30.
Oh, she's not really sorry.
That's a sorry, not sorry, as we say.
15-30.
I think that ball came at her a little quickly, and I might agree with her. That wasn't her target.
All.
That's a big rip. Yeah, I think
Yeah, I
both
think-
Steiner and Wilson have
40.
pretty solid weapons there on their forehands.
It'll be interesting. You know, we've both been seeing short points. Yeah, really big returns. Nice pickup. You know, at some point you have to decide if the first volley, which is one of the toughest shots in paddle, isn't dependable. You know, maybe you need to stay back, change it up a little bit. But it's early. I think both teams, you know, are going to probably take not only this first couple games, but the better part of the first set to find weaknesses and sort of think through. You know, it's only 2-1. It's a point away from 2-all. No need to change strategy, but these are really big returns.
I think Wilson would like that one back. She went for a little drop shot there and didn't quite give it enough.
Advantage Wilson.
Boy, I think you got to be careful with that overhead coming too far off the wire. I think Wilson's going to make you pay for that at some point. That was a nice touch.
Score
Yeah,
deuce.
and a day like today, you know, it's a different strategy. It's a different way to play the screen. Certainly, it's a different pace. Ooh, what a big rip! So you're right. You get stuck with, you know, an up and down that may work in 40 degrees is not going to work at 55, 60 degrees.
Score is deuce.
They got away with one there. And that's what I'm talking about, though. You
Yep.
give Mary Steiner that opportunity.
Advantage Neuman.
I'm sorry, Wilson, Mary Wilson, the opportunity to hit that screen drive with her forehand. Pretty sure you're going to pay for it. Oh, almost got it on the second effort there. That was a nice touch.
Climo Neuman. They lead 3-1. First set.
So what are we seeing here, Steve? What are you seeing that's working well for Climo and Neuman? That's keeping them in the lead here.
I think they're playing steady. Jillian Climo, I like her volleys. She seems very experienced, and sort of how she's moving around the court. She's not too active. She's sort of moving to the right spots. She's defending well. I think we noticed in the first couple of games a couple great sort of stab backhand volleys. And honestly, I think we're both seeing some really big power and ground strokes from Steiner and Wilson, and they're making some mistakes. It is the third match of the day. You mentioned you may have seen some higher level, but it is early, right? Steiner and Wilson are the 2 seeds. They clearly have firepower, but at the end of the day, paddle's a game of not winners but errors. So we gotta see them getting more balls in the court. That's really, yeah. I mean, that.
15.
Yeah, I think Climo and Neuman have done a good job when they're at the net of keeping it away from Steiner and Wilson's forehands. They've picked, they know where they need to keep the ball to stay out of trouble. I would like to see them, slow it down a little bit off the back wire
40,
and not give Mary
15.
that opportunity to unload off a screen drive. They haven't paid for it yet, but I think it's only a matter of time.
Game, Steiner, Wilson. Climo, Neuman lead 3 games to 2. First set.
Get ready to take your training to the next level with Serve and Volley, the world's first responsive play drill. Volley's new AI-powered feature mimics real game conditions, tracking your core position and returning every serve just like the real thing. It's the ultimate way to sharpen your platform tennis skills with targeted practice. Try Serve and Volley today on the Volley Racket app and experience the future of training. Get Volley today at getvolley.com. All right, Jillian Climo serving here. That's
15,
Randy. That's one of those
12.
points. It seems like Wilson's hitting the big shot. She's moving to the right spot. I think that's the second or third time she's sort of gotten the volley she wants and sort of puts it in the net instead of realizing she's on offense, put the volley over, and keep moving forward. So it's definitely something they need to tighten up as they move through the second half of this first set.
Yeah, I agree. It's about, they're making the right choices. Just need to tighten up execution a little bit. There's a big rip.
Yeah, just a very patient, right? That's the classic two-handed backhand. That's a differentiator as someone's moving up the paddle ranks. I'm not sure if Mary Wilson, is 5 years, 10 years, 20 years into the sport, but that's a very sort of calm, relaxed backhand on that last point.
What I liked about that shot there was she took some pace off of that. You don't have to crack it every time, right? Sometimes it's about where you put it as opposed to how hard you put it there. And that was a perfect pace right on her shoes. Most club level players have a tendency to think we have to hammer it every time, right?
Yeah, we go for the triple or the home run, and the reality is, placement and, certainly as we play this game mostly in the winter, you don't need to crack it, and getting the transition, getting to the net, taking over the offensive role in the point is really what you're trying to do. So I agree. Really like the way she took her time there.
Love 30.
Vanessa Steiner got a little flat-footed there, but she shook it off nicely. Got a good smile out of her. Like the body language. They're staying positive.
Game, Climo, Neuman. Climo, Neuman
Yeah.
lead 4 games to 3. First set. Let's change the ball.
So that's the tough game, right? They're down 3-1. Steiner and Wilson start making shots, reduce the errors for a couple games, get it back to 3-all, and they lose a love 40 game on serve. And yeah, it's really, you know, this deep into a day, you know, it's really the length of the point, the patience, picking your spots. I think they were a little bit out of position. Mary Wilson was sort of a sitting duck, even if she made that ground stroke potentially. All right, so let's see here. We have Christine Neuman serving in the gray shirt.
Love 15.
Again, that one was about a 70% drive as opposed to 110, right?
15 all. $15, 30. $15-40.
Very tricky shot. Mary Wilson sort of moved forward, put herself in a tough position, hit a really sort of nice slice sort of placement shot. Very good racket skills. Just shot selection, right? She's got the two-handed backhand.
40.
It's almost a blind shot. You got to put that ball on the court, make the other team volley. It's definitely, you know, a shot you don't want to miss. Oh, there she goes. Really.
There's that move you were
Offensive.
talking about.
Yeah.
Though. That time
Yep.
she got the execution right.
Yep.
First set.
Maybe that'll give her a little zip in her step here.
Wilson to serve.
See if we can increase her confidence level. Keep being aggressive. Little confusion there. They got away with it.
Yeah, nice hands by Christine Neuman, but she's sort of making it her life difficult over there. Nice touch.
I like the way Steiner closed the net there a couple of times. Made those volleys a lot easier by reading that the drive was coming, stepping forward, closing the net. Didn't do anything special with it.
Love.
You know, it's interesting. We always talk about positioning, playing the screens, right? Is it backside? Is it side back? Is it lefty righty spin? Like the best players look like they just put themselves in the right position, but I think, you know, what you picked up on, Randy, is, you know, volley position, proximity to the net, really thinking differently about the traditional tennis volley with sort of the sideways step and the follow through. It's you know, you're right. It makes your life easier. It gives you the ability to sort of patiently make the baseline team do all the work. And that was nice movement there by Mary Wilson a couple points ago.
Good pickup off the lead cord.
Game, Steiner, Wilson.
Oh, Jillian
Steiner,
Climo would like
Wilson
that one
lead
back.
5-4. First set.
Not a bad choice, just unlucky there. All right, we've got ourselves a match. Steiner and Wilson have climbed their way back into this after being down 1-3. We're going to see if we can break Jillian Climo to take the first set.
Yeah, it's you know, I thought it might be a pretty closely contested match. You know, Climo and Neuman are the lower seeds, the lower PTIs. They got off to a quick lead. It wasn't really anything other than errors, I think, that we were seeing from Wilson and Steiner.
15, love.
So yeah, now it's a big game. Climo's trying to hold to stay in the set. All right, I think we see a deuce court strategy going on here, Randy.
It's really the first time we've seen a pattern, right?
First time we've seen a pattern. I think not only the low PTI of Mary Wilson, but her firepower, I think, is making, Climo and Neuman a little bit nervous, and I like the intentional strategy. Oh, she went for the smallest part. Yep, just missed, I think. Really went for that smallest part of the net. And I liked how they're approaching the point. At some point you have to pick a spot, right? Pick a weak part of the backcourt. But they got a little over ambitious with that last one. Climo just went for a really tight angle.
Would have liked to see Wilson go up with that one. I understand the temptation, but that ball was low. You know, we all have a tendency when we're moving forward to want to hit that drive, even though the ball's below the net. And we get to see there what happens when you try to do that. Nice dig.
30-40.
Jillian Climo did a nice job running that down. Unfortunately, Christine Neuman couldn't handle the next shot.
All right, break and set point.
Smart lob down the line.
Yeah, when you're you're attacking the ad side, that deuce player is the net player is supposed to play tight, and certainly the righty can attack the ad side, but it was a great down the line lob. That's sort of a tricky spot.
Advantage, Wilson.
I think they were hearing me say maybe stay back on some of those big returns. It's a really nice spot.
Oh, that's a good spot. I also like the fact that Steiner and Wilson did a nice job of staying organized there. Wilson was able to slide behind Steiner and take those overheads to take the first set. So we'll be right back in just a moment after these messages right here on the APTA YouTube channel presented by Joho Media. Welcome back to the APTA Tour. We're here at the Cleveland Masters in Cleveland, Ohio, with the women's semifinal match between Jillian Climo and Christine Neuman against Vanessa Steiner and Mary Wilson. Steiner and Wilson managed to pull out the first set after being down 1-3. And we're off to the races here in the second set with Steiner serving. What do we see the big change there, Steve, to turn things around for Steiner and Wilson?
I really think it was just putting the ball back in the court, extending the points. A lot of errors in the first 3 or 4 games. They were down a quick 3-1. But boy, they have firepower. I think the biggest balls on the court are coming off the paddle of Mary Wilson.
Oh,
geez. I see a smile, and that
I think the greatest injury is her ego.
No, that was
done
one
that.
of the best. Oh, I have as well, but one of the best things she did, you see her put her arm and her elbow down and not her left hand. That was a really smart fall. She's played paddle before, obviously, because you naturally look to put your hands down when you fall, and on a surface like this, it's almost like a sandpaper, really rough, sharp, sanded surface. You can do significant damage. I've done the same thing, not been as smart as Mary Wilson there, and been out for a few weeks with just cuts right through my fingers and my palm. So thankfully she's okay.
Yeah, she's running to the hut to get a little first aid.
Yeah, her right hand, I didn't see how she placed that.
Looks like her right hand got dinged up just a little bit. But yeah, I agree. I think the big difference to turn that set around was they took a little bit off. They started to hit that 70-80% ball instead of the 110% ball, and kept it in the court. I also think that Climo and Neuman would probably benefit from slowing the pace down a little bit when they're going into that ad court, especially when they're going backside. They're giving Wilson a little too much room for that two-handed backhand, and she's got her choice as to whether to go down the line or take it cross court. And she's a very smart player. She's watching where that net player is moving on the deuce side of the net player. So she's got enough control that she can wait and see where to place that ball, and she's been very effective with that.
Yeah, Mary Wilson really has some nice racket skills. The one you called out in the first set, Randy, was maybe the second or third one she hit. She sort of kept moving her feet, watched it, hit a 70-80% pace right down the middle, cross-court backhand. I think we've just seen the first point. She hit another one. But she's also tried sort of that, hiding backhand slice. She's missed a couple of those, but she's trying some different shots. Yeah, a lot of firepower. We saw a point or two near the end of that first set where Climo and Neuman were trying to play Steiner a little more in the deuce court. Mm-hmm. I like the strategy. I don't think it's necessarily a big weakness, but I like trying, to avoid the strengths on the court, trying a strategy, going at it. They, a couple points, they were clearly trying something that it'll be interesting in the second set. They had a quick changeover if they, talked a little bit and said, okay, let's try to do something different.
Yeah, they're clearly very experienced players and have good court IQ. And you're right. I think it was good to see an organized strategy coming out at that point in the match. We'll see if that starts to pay dividends for them. To your point, I don't think that going at Steiner is necessarily picking on a weakness as much as it is executing a strategy.
And you're right, that the times they got in trouble, that righty overhead to the ad court's a natural way to attack. There's not a lot of spin that they're putting on that overhead. Here comes Mary Wilson now. And, the ball's popping up a little high, right? So if they don't have an ability to maybe try that lower push volley or, a roller or something a little different to give Mary Wilson, a different attempt, change the direction. Righties to the deuce court's a little tougher in the attack. But you have to find a way to minimize the opportunities that you give someone like Mary Wilson.
Yeah. And here we go.
This is Vanessa Steiner serving the black top.
Love 40.
Caught Steiner off the net there. It's a good sort of medium pace poke. Oh, that's a good
Really
spot.
nice roller. Yeah, really nice roller.
Climo Neuman lead 1 game to love. Second set.
All right, we'll see if
Won the first set.
Mary Wilson can shake off that tumble.
I didn't see or can't see if she's got any sort of bandage, but sometimes you just need to throw some cold water in your hands, dry them off, and hopefully this not something she had to bandage, because that can always get tricky as well, how you feel the paddle.
Climo to serve.
I like the body language, though, from Steiner and Wilson. Even when things aren't going their way, they tend to be smiling and keeping it fun, which is pretty important from a mindset standpoint.
Competitively, absolutely, but
15, love.
it's a beautiful Saturday. Maybe they feel like they're getting a free weather day in Cleveland, and they're spending the day playing paddle. So we're also paddle junkies, the both of us. So I'm sure not a lot to be upset about. But yeah, it's definitely a mindset. You can be competitive, but you have to sort of shake it off and move on.
Love.
All right, we're starting off a little bit in the second set like we did on the first. Steiner and Wilson making some mistakes.
That's a good spot right down the middle, making them both reach.
15.
I think they got caught with some bad positioning there. Wasn't terrible, but she picked that seam out.
All. 30-40.
Again, an off-pace drive, right? That was not hammered.
It's an off-pace drive. So this is an interesting approach. Christine Neuman's choosing to stay back. I'm not sure it was required. Oh, what a great shot. Christine Neuman did a pirouette and then sort of kept her eyes on the ball, and nice transition there.
Nice cover.
Nice, yep.
They're doing a better job of slowing that ball down into Wilson's corner, not giving her that opportunity to do that. I jinxed it.
Game, Steiner, Wilson.
That's the shot they've got to not give her.
By Mary Wilson, but you know what I was going to say before, Randy, the positioning, Christine Neumann was a little bit off the net, but I also think she's holding a little bit or waiting for that forehand volley, and she's sort of stretching instead of holding the backhand. Typically in paddle, different from tennis, you're going to probably play a backhand volley about 60 or 70% of the space, and it seems like she's picking up for a forehand. And a little bit off the net. So it's a double tricky situation to hit a low forehand volley.
Yeah, it's not uncommon for tennis players to want to flip that around. It takes a lot of
That's
discipline to stay in that backhand position.
30-15.
Great move by Mary. And there's a situation where just a little bit of confusion on positioning, whose ball is whose. I'd like to have seen Wilson step up to that net and let Steiner take those overheads rather than being confused about whose ball.
Yeah, and you can see they're moving back together, which, the important sort of strategic positioning that you see, if one goes back, the other one sort of has to move in and close and cut off some angles. See how right there, Steiner's moving back with Mary Wilson and really putting them both in a vulnerable vulnerable situation. Instead of sort of realizing, who's going to take that ball, I need to go to my position. I think when she drifts back towards the service line and almost watching Mary hit it, she's really vulnerable, and I think she got trapped on that last one.
Score is deuce. Advantage Wilson.
That's a great shot. So that point was really set up by that really nice, slow, soft ball into the ad corner by Steiner. 3 shots earlier, right? Just get him a little bit off balance, a little bit out of position, and keep her in the washing machine.
Absolutely. That was the best point of the match. I think we saw a ton of variation from Mary Wilson. A forehand roller, maybe 2 backhand rollers in that point. She also took a step back, let one bounce, and hit a nice sort of dragging cut forehand deep into the court. And you're right, there were a couple pirouettes on the other side. But that was a really nice sort of patient point by Mary Wilson.
Love 15.
We have Neuman serving now in the ad court.
15 all.
Looks like a great crowd today out watching paddle in Cleveland.
You put a free keg out, it's amazing what happens.
These tournaments, I'm from Baltimore. We hosted, Sam Byram and Nobu Tanaka hosted the Baltimore Open a couple weeks ago. And it is as much about the spectators' experience as it is about the players' experience. But you're right, some free beer, sometimes some nice cocktails, and some nice weather. Super helpful, right? The next couple months is a crapshoot on weather.
Game Steiner Wilson.
And it's nice for people to see the talent, whether it's the team coming in from Chicago here, Climo and Neuman, or just seeing a different face on the court, seeing a different style. It's really nice to a great spectator sport as well. It looks like the clubhouse here has got some great viewing areas of certainly the 3 courts that you can see on the cameras today.
It is really a terrific venue, and I will say that the Cleveland paddle community is incredibly supportive and engaged. We've got, if I'm not mistaken, I believe we still have the highest populated summer paddle league in the country, which has brought in a whole new group of young players. We've got new courts downtown that were partially funded by a great grant from the APTA, which has really helped us grow the game here in Cleveland. Brought a whole bunch of young people into the game, and it's fun to see them coming out here to get inspired by some of this higher level play.
And is the community in Cleveland and the clubs and facilities in Cleveland, are they mostly private? I know there is this one in the Flats that maybe is the one you reference.
Correct.
But where are the new people coming, the new young talent coming into paddle? Are they congregating towards the public facilities, or are they simply joining these private clubs that probably have the majority of the courts, I would guess?
The majority of the courts are private, and I think we're seeing, certainly the public courts down in the Flats have had a material impact on the growth of the game here in town, but I would say we're also seeing continued increases in participation at the private clubs. A lot of the clubs here have paddle-only memberships. That's a great entry point for some of these younger players to get in at a reasonable price and get engaged and really grow the game. It's been fun, especially for an old guy like me. Get to play with some of these younger folks who have athleticism I can no longer even dream about.
But it's a different sport. So what we find, I also came from tennis. It's a different game. The old guard in all these cities are really an important part of developing the young talent, teaching them how to play paddle. It's a different sport. It's a very unique sport. It's obviously different from pickle. It's different from tennis. It's different from padel. So yeah, you still have a big role, I think, in helping the next generation.
Well, it's been fun. I actually played last weekend with a young man in his early 20s who's a great squash player, and just to watch him get better every point and to really absorb the feedback he was getting from, to your point, us old guard on the court, the tips we were giving him about his choices. Every point he learned something new, and he never forgot it. It's really fun to watch these guys pick up the game, and it's not going to be long before I have no place on a court with that kid.
Steiner Wilson lead 4-1.
All right, Steiner and Wilson have really dialed in here. They've got a 4-1 lead here in the second set. And we have a read here.
Yeah, Corient is the official well sponsor of the APTA's 2024-2025 season. Corient is a fee-only wealth manager who puts their clients at the center of everything they do. Learn more at corient.com. Yeah, it seems like it's a little bit of a runaway here with Steiner and Wilson, right? 6-4, 4-1, higher seed, lower PTIs. Certainly a lot of work to turn this around by Climo and Neuman, but paddle's a game of momentum. Climo's hitting a couple practice serves, so they're not packing up yet.
We've got Mary Wilson back in the hut, having her hand tended to for the first aid. I think she was still bleeding a little bit. She has bandaged it up and is heading back out to the court.
I like the move, because the reality is at this point in the match, Mary's expecting, hoping she's going to be playing another match. I think the finals is coming up around 6 o'clock this evening, also streamed on YouTube. But yeah, you want to make sure you don't do anything else that's going to affect you in the next match. So I like the quick break there.
It's a great pickup by Neuman, by the way.
Oh, look at that. What a dribbler.
The Spider-Man shot.
I wouldn't apologize. That was beautiful to see. A couple more seconds on the net and may have rolled out. See that Mary Wilson's got to sort of stay in her position there. She's drifting back as well. Okay, that's better positioning.
I'd even like to see her step forward. I mean, if they're going to go to that deuce side, step forward, get on top of the net, and let Steiner take those overheads.
Yep.
Just trust your partner to put it in the right place. That's better overhead pace right there. She can't hurt you with that.
Yeah, Climo, you could see, puts her head down, realizes, that Neuman's behind her, but creeps forward to the net in that sort of natural attacking position. So I really like that. And you can see Neuman staying back here. That forehand of Mary Wilson's keeping everybody on defense.
To your point earlier about the wisdom and the experience that Climo and Neuman clearly are demonstrating, that they're not afraid to change their approach, their strategy, their setup, staying back. There's nothing wrong with giving up the net if it gets you in the point. Some of us are very reluctant. There's something about our egos that don't let us do that.
Absolutely. Really nice pace. You saw it a couple points ago.
40,
Christine Neuman just
30.
sort of laid it backside, died off the side screen. Really like that pace there. And I like the conversation. Obviously, up back is the discussion, but they're not giving up yet. Got a big game point here.
Now, see, I would have liked Steiner to have stayed put and let Wilson take that overhead.
Steiner
Yep.
Wilson lead, 4 games to 2. Second set.
We all have a tendency to want to get involved in the point when we're on that deuce side at the net, and we'd be better suited to either step right or duck.
That's
Let
right.
the ad side player take the overhead. Easier said than done.
That's right. So Mary Wilson serving up a set in 4-2. Really like her serve motion. I suspect there's some tennis in her background, but really natural, nice sort of kick offensive serve.
30, love. Love.
Great spot.
Game, Steiner Wilson. Steiner Wilson lead, 5 games to 2. Second set. Steiner Wilson won the first set, 6 games to 4.
All right, we've got a report from the other semifinal. Hallbauer and Maturka
Neuman
beat
to serve.
Piranello and Pike 6-1, 6-0 in the other semifinal. So our 1 seeds have advanced to the final to play the winner of this match.
So obviously Hallbauer's, consistent tour player out of Cincinnati. They have lost a total of 3 games today. So
Yeah.
they're cruising. It'll be very interesting to see how many forehands they let Mary Wilson hit, but much different scoreboard, for the 2 finalists I think we're going to see. There's that backhand. Great shot.
Good cover there from Steiner.
Love.
Well, there's that cannon you were talking about.
Yeah, she stays back when Climo's serving, but staying back is not the first volley that we said before can be a very difficult shot. These are really big returns. Both Steiner and Wilson have absolute cannons for forehand, so you really have to decide: are you putting yourself in a better position by going to the net, or take your medicine, stay back, and play the court from the back, play the point from the backcourt.
That's really good pace. Low and slow to that side wire. Really forcing Neuman to take that off of one screen low. Very difficult ball to handle.
All right, big point, match point to Mary Wilson.
And there it is.
Game, set, match, Steiner Wilson, 6-4, 6-2.
Well, it was a hard-fought match, but Steiner and Wilson definitely found their groove. At the end of the day, I think it came down to once they dialed in their execution and kept the ball in the court. Took a little bit off with some of those drives, started placing them. It was really the difference maker.
Yeah, down 3-1. Only lost 3 games the rest of the match from there, and I think they just minimized their mistakes. Gave themselves plenty of chances to show off their power from the backcourt, and really impressive. Not just Wilson, but Steiner as well. Actually, I thought it was a really nice match. I like the skills from Climo, Neuman as well, but I think a little bit of tougher play today from Wilson and Steiner, and they'll be in the finals.
Well, that's a wrap from this women's semifinal here at the Cleveland Masters in Cleveland, Ohio. Steve, it's been a pleasure. And we will be back with the men's semifinal in, well, keep your eye on the screen. It'll come on shortly. I know we're going to just change out the court here and get this match in as soon as possible. Thanks, everybody.
At Corient, wealth management begins and ends with you. We believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful the result. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life you want to build. And our experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there. It's time for a wealth management experience as sophisticated as you are. It's time for Corient.
Hi, my name is Macy Elliott, and my tip of the week is on your roller. A lot of times when I see people hit rollers, they tend to go over the ball because they want to bring it down and create more spin. But when you do that, you're actually going to create a lot of pressure on your elbow. So a lot of times when people get tennis elbow, it's from that. Instead, I want you to go straight up on the ball and pretend like you're going to finish all the way up with your knuckles to your ear. This upward motion will create more spin and it will grab less of the ball than if you were to go over it. If you grab too much of the ball, you don't get as much spin and it's not quite as effective versus going straight up the back and finishing up by your ear. I'm Macy Elliott. Hope you enjoyed this tip of the week. I'll see you on the courts.